Welcome back from that break. Like I told you, we are discussing inclusive governance, how women, what women can do to even get to that point where we would have a lot of women in positions of in very important positions that will get them representing well. There is absolutely, it's established that there is absolutely no way, no matter how empathic a man is, that he will be able to represent a woman well, discuss and legislate on her behalf, capturing the issues that she has. And that's what we're going to concentrate on today's edition of Joy Asonye Live. And joining me right now is Ambassador Aju Elumelu, founder Aju Elumelu Foundation. Good evening. Good evening from Nigeria. She's joining us all the way from the US.
Hi, good evening. I just want to say
Looking
thank you
beautiful
to
as
you,
always.
and thank you to everybody there. Hi, Nigerians.
Okay,
I'm
so
glad.
thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk about the Aju Elumelu Foundation before we get into the crux of the matter. And I know that you are championing women for 35% affirmative action. But first of all, tell us what the Aju Elumelu Foundation does.
Hi, Aju Elumelu Foundation was actually started 17 years ago. I have Aju Elumelu Foundation here in the US with 501c3 status. Equally in Nigeria, we do a lot in terms of women, children, and Nigerian youth. And during the political period, 2022, 2023, we did a lot of initiatives on actually women, and then later on everybody, opening marketplaces and trying to do some empowerment programs for them. It was during this period, because I was in Nigeria, just trying to experience this politics, that Aju Elumelu Foundation decided to step away from the norm, from the normal things that we used to do, and I wanted to focus on this particular issue, women for 35%, because during this campaign and election period, I saw what women go through. Women are those that campaign, they're those that stay in the sun, they walk, they do the whole 9 yards. They make a lot of sacrifices. And then after the election, everybody goes up. The men have the choicest position, and the women are just left there. So women, Aju Elumelu Foundation decided to, delve into matters pertaining women in terms of leadership, both elective and appointed positions across boards. So here we are. We're heading to 18 years, really 17 right now, heading to 18. And thank God.
Now, other African countries seem to be doing better when it comes to equity in public office positions for women. Why do you think that is? What do you think still impedes Nigerian women from doing? I mean, like you just mentioned, it's getting worse. We're recording even less numbers these days. So what do you think we are doing? We'll get to how we can change that trajectory, but what are we doing so wrong at the moment?
As we all know, or if you don't know, depending on where you're watching from, we have 109 senators, only 4 are women. And then we have 360 House of Rep members, only 16 are women. And Nigerian women are one of the most brilliant women all over the world. Nigerian women are envied all over the world. Yet, when we come to our country, we're not even able to sit on the table with men. That 109 translates to, if you were to put one woman per table, it will translate to only 4 women on a table of probably about 11 for the Senate, and for House of Rep, it's a no-go area. Now, every part of Africa, they're making strides. The Beijing Declaration of September 15, 1995 said that it emphasizes on women being full and equal participation, having full and equal participation in decision-making processes across board. And also, part of what it says that women must have access to power. 189 countries were there when this was decided, signed off by our country, Nigeria. And since that 1995, it's been a struggle. I even made a song about it.
Yes, I mean, I listened to your song. It did capture the situation. But just like several other treaties and commitments that Nigeria has made with the international community, if it comes, it sounds good, we make this commitment. Implementation has always been the issue. And do you think efforts have been intentional towards implementation so far?
I'm gonna tell you something. When I went to register my company in Rwanda, I mean, that country is so well organized. Every department, parastatal that I went to, and I want to talk to somebody, I want to talk to the head. It's always women, young, either 30 and a little bit above 30. And that was when I learned that 67% are in parliament and all the places, and the men, take very supportive role, and you see the country just moving. And here we really are, Nigeria, massive country, Nigeria, our pride and all of that. And women, I don't know how the men are just comfortable to sit in a room of 109 and not know that there's something wrong with the picture. That picture is not a good thing to even see. And I can imagine what is going on in the psychic of the tokenism, the women amongst them. 4 women among 109 men. Wow. And it's okay. It's a shame of a nation. It's actually a shame of a nation. There's nothing to fight about it or talk about it. It is going against that declaration of Beijing 1995. By now, I believe that Nigerian government should have done something about it to bring women to the table where decisions are made. Because if you really, I am so sorry, I really want to delve into this. I cannot imagine all kinds of decision pertaining women. Women are not even involved. You guys just make rules, make laws, and say, hey, women, this is what we want you guys to do. When we were born and our parents sent some of us to the best schools ever, never in their wildest dream did they think that the girls that have spent so much money educating, that have spent so much time trying to prop up and give us that sense that we can do it, we can partake in matters concerning our country.
Right.
We don't matter in the overall scheme of things. Yes, we're 50%. No, we're not fighting about this. It's not about fight. It's about I really want to appeal to the consciousness of those in power to know that this can no longer be sustainable. We're
Right.
not happy.
I mean, we keep hammering on this, but can you also tell us what you think are the benefits, the reasons why it's so important to have a more porous or a more inclusive government?
I'll tell you, the uptakes for one, for our daughters. If you listen to my song, our parents, our mothers went through this. Our mothers went through it. And now we're going through it. And why it hurts is because of technology. The light bulb has gone up, and we now know that we are ashamed to even say, okay, we come from a beautiful country, and yet we don't even have access. So you don't understand the power of having women and giving them chance to partake in decision making of the country. Because what you're doing right now, you are trashing. The country is of women's brains and and participation. So that means no matter what you do, you go to school, you study politics, you do this and do that, you cannot sit in position where you can even say, no, this is what is happening with our bodies.
Ambassador,
Yes,
we would be joined by another advocate, one who's been doing so
awesome.
much when it comes to women participation in public offices. There's so much I have to ask both of you, especially discussing that narrative, that unfortunate narrative where they tell you we want merit and not just gender. It means maybe our women are not good enough. We'll be back after this short break where I would welcome our other guests to join the conversation.
All right.
Yes, stay with us.
The overall function of the Parliament is adequate representation of their constituents in state echoes to federation.
Removal of fuel subsidy, resources to critical sectors such as education and health. A call to unity and progress of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
NAS Unplugged is a program that will highlight topical issues from both chambers of the National Assembly, from bills, motions, and constituency projects.
Guys have it.
Catch the program on ADBN TV, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays as we bring you activities of the National Assembly as it affects the people.
During the flood disaster in Maiduguri and its environs.
For increase in the number of judges in the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
The eyes have it.
NAS Unplugged, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. Like I told you earlier, we have another guest joining us who is a very strong women advocate. As a matter of fact, these days she is the South representative for that strong force, talking about the special seat bill for women. She is Ebimoboere Alaibe Elezieanya. I hope I got that name right.
You did.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we've been discussing with Ambassador Aju Elumelu, founder Aju Morgan Elumelu Foundation. Are you still there? She's joining us from the US, and we've been having a quick conversation as to how important it is to have women in governance. So before we connect to her, we had gotten the conversation to that point where men often say very disturbing things, or some people rather say we are looking at gender. We're looking at merit and not gender. You're asking for special seats, for instance. Are we just going to give it to women because they're asking for it? How do you respond to issues like that?
Okay, so let me correct the name. You know, previously the name used to be special seat. We're now calling it the reserved seat.
Reserved seat, right.
And when we ask whether we should just give the seats to us like that, that's not what it is. This is a democratic government. We have run 26 years of democracy here in Nigeria. However, you have 50% of the population not represented in a democracy. What is democracy? Is it not supposed to be a balanced society? You have an abysmal representation of women in the World Gender Index. Nigeria ranks at 125 out of 140. When you look at the parliament, we have less than 3.6% presented today. In fact, it's even reducing, it's going down. So we're not asking for you to just dash us a seat. We're saying we have a problem in Nigeria, and the problem is simple. There is a 46% percentage of the population not represented in the parliament. Across all sectors of Nigeria, women are represented, but not in the political scene. This is why we're asking for the reserve seat bill. And what is the reserve seat bill? It just seeks to amend the constitution and to create reserve seats at the national and the state assemblies where women can contest amongst themselves for seats. And this is to correct the abnormality that is already in the parliament at the moment. This bill is supposed to run for 16 years, which is 4 election cycles, and we're hoping that with this bill being passed, it will somehow somewhat settle or bring to an equilibrium, maybe not, but bring to some sort of for women representation to be better. So this is not us just asking for any seat. We are saying that women have been marginalized in Nigeria, and we're asking that women should be included. Inclusive, gender equity, not equality. We can never be equal to the men, right. But we're saying in the political scene, we want more representation, a balanced democratic process where the voices of women are heard, where women concerns that affect women will be carried along. As you well know, Dr. Joy, you know, when women are in power, things like education are looked at. Things like health are looked at. Social amenities are looked at. This is what women carry as a daily work. We do it at home easily. Your mother does it. Your sisters do it. So why not bring women on board in politics to balance out the system? That's what we're saying. We're not asking for this is not tokenism. We're saying women have a lot to offer. Bring us on board and let's begin to change the country.
Right. I just want to also get Ambassador Elumelu's response to that question. When you hear people say we are looking towards merit and not just gender, don't get us to reserve special seats. Maybe that special was a problem. And I know we have been twisting and turning just so that we can accommodate everyone. What's your response to people who say that we can't just offer them seats just because?
I have heard folks tell me to my face that we just want to be treated special. We are as educated as you guys are. That's what I say. And we are members of the society. And we shouldn't even be asking for 35%.
Thank you.
It should be full and equal participation across the board.
That's right.
Even with processes pertaining women, we find out that men still occupy their seat. And if you really look at the overall scheme of things, men and women are wired separately. Women, right from the home, we are the managers and all of that. So when it comes to what the populace really need, things like education, a woman, just like my sister said, a woman will go for that. Healthcare, childcare, folks, things like that has to do retirement for our husbands. And we're not looking at it because at the end, it's still us women that have to take care of this men. So when it comes to apportioning money and voting toward things that is needed by the society. Women are supposed to be there to say, you know what, our children need education. Our children need scholarship. Put more money on scholarship. Put more money on childcare, Head Start for our children, food. And women generally will make sure that it drives these policies. And as you can see, our country, all is not well right now.
That's right.
And I have no doubt that when you put women, the women will complement the men. And so it will no longer be business as usual where you just where we just spend on things. And what amazes me also is that things that have to do with women, our bodies, ourselves in particular, about women, decisions are being taken by men about women.
That's right.
And that is not all right. You know, like she said, 40-something%. We should be present on every table, on all decisions. It has nothing to do with equal rights and all of that. No, it's equal participation.
Absolutely.
Because we all know that we are wired separately. Right. So, you know, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm equal to a man and all of that. That has nothing to do. Has something to do with our country. And the fact that we are members of Nigeria and we're born and all men are created equal. And that we have a right to our natural resources to help, you know, with what is going on in our country. That's what we're talking about here today.
Oh, well, that is a very wonderful one. And like she said, it's very important that we take these things into cognizance. But you were very much around during the just concluded elections where political parties were screamed out that we are slashing nomination forms. We are trying to ensure that we have more women. And indeed, we saw more women come out to vote. But that didn't necessarily translate to more women emerging in those political positions. What would you say was the challenge for women in spite of everything that was said? We are giving them more opportunities. We are slashing tickets. In fact, I think there was a political party that gave free tickets to their female candidate and aspirant. So what do you think the challenge is, and what would you rather expect? Because sometimes in spite of the document, which is the bill that may come into an act, we may not see implementation. What do you think was that fundamental challenge that women still faced in all of it?
Thank you. As you well said, this is a bill that we are seeking a constitutional amendment to. However, that does not remove the cultural barriers that we have, where we have a patriarchal system that is consistently against the women. It also does not remove the time that politics is being played.
Absolutely.
Women are at home in the evening doing other chores. We're multitasking. We want to be in the political scene as well as do things that affect us at home. But times for the meetings are at night. You also talked about the political parties who have not really made it a welcoming place for women. So culture, political, the scene in total speaks against us. Patriarchal system speaks against us. We tend to give women leeways in other places, but in the political arena, these things have not been provided for women, which is why we're asking for the constitutional amendment. Because what this would do is it will help not just the constitution, it will also help the party, the party delegates to know that these provisions that have been made for women, the around it, because then you'll be educating more people concerning women going into politics. Around this political scene, more spaces will be made available for women. It will be a bit friendlier. It will not be a level, might not be a level playing ground, but it will be a bit friendlier for women to come in. So you have a lot that speaks against women when it comes to this. You have a lot. There's no inclusion for women in the political scene because of all the things that I've mentioned. Culture is a big one. Culture just takes women to the backstage and don't even want you to come forward. But with this constitutional amendment, we're hoping that parties, political parties will be carried along, the society will be carried along, women themselves will now know this bill has been provided for us to be able to run for office, meaning that, like we always say, that you have to have the appetite for politics, so you'll be prepared to come in and walk the walk when it's time to do that.
Wow, that's so interesting. But a lot of Nigerians are looking at you and wondering, what's the operational strategy for this? How do you want it to work? Who would champion this? Are you expecting political parties to do it, or are you equipping women to have the capacity to do it? How do you hope that it will come to fruition?
Great. What is the bill asking for? It's a very simple ask. We're asking that at the state level, 3 additional seats should be provided for only women to contest. At the federal level, House of Representatives, 1 additional seat across all 36 states plus the FCT to be contested by women. And then at the Senate, 1 additional seat across all states plus the FCT to be contested by women. What would this bring? Of course, we're not just going to say any woman come on board. As far as you're a woman, you can run with this bill.
Right. However, and the competition now is between women.
It's between women, but you have to be ready for the position. So we're saying the basic that is needed is that, first of all, you are 18 years. Secondly is that you have, of course, joined a political party. Thirdly is that you must be able to stand and defend the position that you are going for.
And I bet you millions of Nigerian women are equipped for this.
We don't have an educational barrier in Nigeria. We don't have a knowledge barrier when it comes to those people who have been well grounded in running the nation. Nigeria has vast majority of well educated, sound, especially women. Look at the banks now. Look at women running. We don't have a deficit of knowledge in Nigeria. However, what we have is maybe a know-how of how to participate properly in the political arena. So what this would do, of course, right after the bill, NGOs, civil societies, this is the first time in history in Nigeria where the House of Representatives, there's a joint force with the House of Representatives, the Ministry of Women Affairs, the wives of the governors forum, everybody. There is a joint agreement to say this is what we want and this is how we're going to go about it. Now, across all states, and I must thank all the first ladies of all the states, because across all states you can see, in fact, Delta State, for one, has made it compulsory that councillors and chairmen are women, and they are pushing for more inclusiveness with women in those seats. So all the first ladies are beginning to participate and say we want more women. The councillors are women. More honorable members are becoming women in the state level. So you see that maybe it's not reflecting in the federal. However, with this bill, we will see it reflect more in the federal, because now in every new house, because the bill is going to run for 4 election cycles, in every new house, you will have 37 new women seated.
Right.
Representing their seats, whether we like it or not. There will be elections amongst themselves, and one woman will emerge in every new election. And we only have 4 cycles of election. 16 years. After 16 years, the bill can be thrown
by that time.
Because
but by that time, let's say we have the 35% affirmative order. Let's say we have the reserve seat. What are those? What do you significantly think would change in the political landscape of Nigeria? I'm not sure why. I'm waiting for this.
I'm super excited. Are you serious? What would change? A lot is going to change. Like I already just stated, 26 years of consistent democracy in Nigeria, uninterrupted, and the men have been running it.
And a lot will say that maybe the reason we have enjoyed it 26 years uninterrupted is because the women have taken the back stage.
That's not true. It's because
I was just kidding, of course.
Of course. These are the kind of comments that we make that still make women be like we're still at the back. No, a woman coming on board will make everything better. You know the saying that says, when you see a great man, there's always a great woman behind. With women being there, as our speaker from the United States has already mentioned, she talked extensively about education. Women they push educational policies much more You see, your mother tries to make sure that even our mothers back in the village who did not even have the education that was needed, when it is time for their children to go to school, they will count their last coin to make sure that their children are educated. Health, for one, maternal health. We still have states that don't have hospitals in their states, in their communities. Maternal health to be looked at. Do you know the rate of deaths in some of our communities because there's no proper health systems there? You're talking about social amenities. You're talking about building things for the children in the communities. There are things that mothers will look at. You're looking at empowering women. Women will be more empowered to do their businesses, because a woman who is in power will look at what can I do for my fellow woman to also thrive. And so you will see that they will create avenues. Today I spoke to a cooperative who is creating avenues where even if you can't buy food, you can be able to loan money to buy food and pay in bits. Those are the kind of initiatives, and it's being powered by a woman. In fact, not a Nigerian, an Ivorian woman. So you can see that when women are in power, initiatives that would enhance women, because we know what we feel.
Exactly.
Auntie rightfully said as she was speaking that, how can we have men make decisions for women? You don't understand where we are. They don't understand what is needful for us. But when a woman is in power, the things that are needful for women to have, they would make sure that those policies that concern women will be made. Making pads available. Do you know that there are still communities? We have NGOs who go around distributing sanitary lessons and sanitary towels. Do you know there are still communities where the young girls don't understand how to properly dispose of these things? These things will come easily when a woman is in power. Give a woman a chance. We're not a threat. We are going to enhance the government. In fact, I want to thank the present government, because they are initiating policies that would be inclusive for women, but we need more. We are not begging. We need to be properly represented. 46% is a lot.
Beyond this conversation around, beyond the conversation around the legislators and the policy makers, have you had a town hall, also some engagement with other institutions that are so necessary? We have just mentioned the traditional barriers and the religious barriers in some cases, but have you had a sit down with this head to say, you know what, we are not a threat, just like you mentioned, we are not a threat. We are going to enhance your community. We are going to, I stumbled on it, an article that talked about the billions that we lose not having women in power, in leadership positions. So these other institutions, like the religious one, the traditional, have you had conversations with them?
It's interesting that you asked, because of the joint communique that I talked about, the Governors Forum, the House of Representatives, Minister of Women Affairs and all. Right now, as I'm presently speaking to you, and you already know that I'm already on my way out.
Oh yes.
As I'm already speaking to you, in all the geopolitical zones in Nigeria, leaders and coordinators of the reserve seat bill are in their different communities engaging all stakeholders, because the public hearings are coming up. And as you know, politics is grassroots. And as the public hearings are coming up, we're engaging our traditional rulers. I've met with a couple of my traditional rulers. We're engaging the church. We're engaging religious bodies to say this is what is needed. These things that we're excluding women are affecting our communities. In the southeast, you have Dr. Adora organizing her team, and already presently right now in Enugu awaiting the public hearing. In the north central, you have Chikase, Honorable Chikase, and she also has run twice. In fact, Dr. Adora has run twice to be a honorable member and didn't make it, but she's not giving up. She's going back again to her people to say, this is what needs to be done. This is what we have been doing. Their structures have already been set on ground, and we're all running with our structure. I, for one, am going to Akwa Ibom, because the public hearing for the Senate is in Akwa Ibom State. From there, we go to Calabar. Yes, next tomorrow, in fact. From there, we go to Calabar, because we need to go around all the 6 states that report to me, the South states. And then from there, finally, we go to Bayelsa, because the last public hearing is simultaneously running in Bayelsa and Calabar. and we will be there engaging the religious bodies, engaging our traditional rulers, engaging the women, engaging the market women, engaging the youth. Everybody is excited about this bill. This is the first time, I repeat again, that there is a joint communicate to say we are in support of this bill and we want more women. This, in fact, people say women don't work with women, but I dare to say that's a lie, because within the last 2 weeks, and you have also been involved in the process,
exactly,
you could see the number of women saying, I want to bring this number, I want to do this,
exactly,
I want to do that.
exactly.
For the first time, we're working together, and because we are together, the goal is going to be achieved. Our political, our traditional rulers are now listening to us. We need more women. Our religious leaders are now listening to us. We need more women. So if the whole community is shouting the same thing, why won't we have what we're saying we're looking for? Of course, we're speaking to them, and you can see that the response is very positive. And I am really excited that this time, I'm hopeful that this time the bill will pass.
Oh, we are all hopeful that the bill will pass, because it was really almost embarrassing when you looked at the entire political structure, and you say, like you mentioned, maternal health. No matter how empathic a man may be towards the women, you cannot understand what it means to say, I am pregnant, I can't even afford or get access to the nearest public or primary health care center. But let's talk about finances, which is another major issue why that impedes women's growth in the political space. How are you going to, because elections in Nigeria are unfortunately very expensive. And I'm not saying Nigerian women do not have money. We have a lot of money. However, not to the extent in some cases competing with men who have had several years ahead in political appointments and positions in very lucrative businesses as well. Because what we face is not just in politics. What we face is across board. But I'm happy that we'll have political positions where you can also now address in other sectors. So how do we jump this big issue of finances?
Interestingly enough, we had a group of women discuss today about the limitations that women have when it comes to politics, and finance was one of the major ones. However, with this bill, I'm glad to say that the World Bank is looking at inflowing at least $22.6 billion to support women who are going into politics. The dynamics of how these monies will run, we don't understand it, but at least there's somebody looking and saying, we understand the pain point of women. We understand what it takes to do politics. We understand that if there's not enough funds, women cannot adequately compete with the men in this arena. So it's not just about passing the bill. It's that funds should be made available, will be made available for women who want to be in politics. Funds will be made for educational purposes. Funds will be made to, I'm hoping that sponsor women who want to go into politics. Funds will be made for town hall meetings and all the trainings that need to be done. These are the things that government should begin to set monies aside for. So if there's a government that is thinking and you want more women in power, not just educating the women, but providing and making sure that the forms are not so expensive. How do you charge 50 million for a form to run for election?
That's a slashed price.
Thank you. That already is a barrier for a woman that wants to run for office, and you say, we shouldn't run for office if we are not capable. The thing is not just being capable. The thing is the environment friendly, is the environment accommodating enough for any woman who says, I want to run for a councillor, I want to run for governor, I want to run for the president? Is it accommodating enough? So the bill provides also for funding to come in for us to be able to support women who want to go into politics. This is the beauty of the reserve seat bill.
Very, very beautifully put, I must tell you. But sometimes when I look at these issues of finances, of competence as well, it disturbs me, because when you look at the how even these men often do emerge. I was talking the other day here on the show about the unfortunate trajectory where we are beginning to do a consensus. Some big wigs just sit down. It's no longer a well fought election elections where everybody, like they will say in local ballots, they digger out.
That's
you know,
right.
it's now some people just sit down. No more primaries. Let's not do so much in
Let's just
primaries.
have a consensus
Let's just have a
candidate.
consensus, and that has also affected the emergence of women. How are you going to ensure that you don't tell us to fly and then tie our hands?
I'm a woman for one, so I don't intend to do that. And I don't think the bill is trifling anybody's voice. The bill
No, I'm
is
not even talking about to that
about the
extent. I'm
bill,
talking about
yes.
in the political party
That's
space, right? So how do you ensure that they don't come up with this, oh, it's a consensus, oh, leaders of the group has accepted that we would all vote for this one, and that's how the person now emerges.
It now depends on we women to work out the technicalities around this bill. Like I said, this is the first barrier. Let us get the bill passed.
Right.
Once the bill is passed, we can now come to a round table and say, this is how we feel that this should be run. And so as with everything, you cannot take away the political intrigues that will be played around any of these things. However, we're hoping that with this bill, we'll be able to sort things out amongst ourselves. As we are beginning to work together as women, we feel that at the time that the bill will be passed, after the bill is passed, and we get into our meetings and discussions across boards, I'm telling us now that women are a lot more sensitive about anybody shutting anybody's voice down. Yesterday, remember, we met a young lady who was going into fashion, and she said people didn't understand what was disturbing. And I said, when I teach purpose, I say purpose is only you that understands the well that is running within you, and you are the only one that can dig deep. So when you come to the forefront for politics, I would hate to think that we will stifle any woman's voice. Instead, we would have to come across modalities that we can all work with that will make us better in participating in politics in comparison to our male counterparts.
Right. I don't want to, I never like to use that phrase, women don't support women. But in the same vein, we've had women in positions where no matter how lone the voice may be in the wilderness, it would be nice to hear them call out and all of that. How are you going to ensure that in all this advocacy, women who have had opportunities to also be in those spaces can hold the hands of others, can also speak on their behalf, and ensure that should these intrigues or tricks or whatever in political parties come up, they would be able to say, you know what, for my gender's sake and for the sake of the nation, we are going to stand by this and work together and all of that.
It's vision. What do you see and how far do you see it? Is it about one person, or is it about the vision of Nigeria and Nigeria standing tall? I tell people that when you come to me and talk about you leaving Nigeria or saying anything negative about how Nigeria is not going to thrive, I shut you down immediately, because again, it will take me and you to work together to make the nation that we want to make. So for women who are in power and for the young ones, you can see how hungry the youths are to want to get into power, to want to take charge of what is going on in our economy. But for women who are in power right now, it's about the long-term vision, and when you have finished, history will judge you. So how would history write about you? Did you carry the young ones along? Did you see that a young person is trying to rise and you didn't shut them down because it's going to affect your next elections? Are you willing to carry the next person? What is your vision? If your vision is short term, then you only be thinking about you. But if your vision is long term, you would want to carry other people along and then rewrite history and said, whilst I was in power, I opened the door for other women to come. This is me. And then when those women ascend, they will keep giving you the kudos because you did what is right. When you think about where you are today, are you doing what is right by opening the door? You entered, you shouldn't shut the door for other women. When you entered, you should be able to create an enabling environment around you, around your office, and even in that industry for other women to come in. So it's about vision. And then if anyone who ascends to the seat of House of Reps or Senate should be thinking beyond an individualistic view. It's about the nation and what I have to offer. And if you see that there's a young person who has much more to offer after you, good a thing. You need to encourage them so that
Right.
the vision
Okay,
about
so
women
because we
coming.
really are running out of
That's
time,
right.
and unfortunately, we had a glitch there, and we lost Ambassador Elumelu. But I think you're back now. Welcome back. Let's just have your parting words and closing remarks as to what you think women can do in support of other women who may now have the guts to stick their head out there.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're still experiencing that glitch that I talked about. It would have been really nice, but because we are discussing
Yeah,
women.
can you hear me?
Okay,
Can you
this
hear
is,
me?
yeah, this is so
I
much.
see. I was just enjoying what she was saying, but for because of time, I don't know what she has said or not said. And one of the major things that we have, the problem that we have, is that hatred for fellow women. That we will not just allow another woman to rise. And when a woman rises, your kids are going to be okay. I want you guys to know that when a woman rises, when a conscientious, let me put it that way, because there are some women that go there and they totally do not want other women to come in. But when a conscientious woman rises, she makes sure that other women are going, because you live beyond. When you allow other women to come in and hold your hands, you live beyond that. And then what we also have to do is this fact that women will, when another woman wins, they're in cahoot with their leaders, the village leaders, asking a woman to give up her seat, because that's what happens constantly. Or the pastors of a church will tell a woman, okay, well, God says it's not your time. Allow another man, give it to this man instead. It is a big problem. And the fact that we do not have godfatherism, godmotherism. You see some folks just they're not even interested in our political offices. Somebody with money will say to them, come, let me sponsor you. We don't have that. If I want to go run for office tomorrow, I promise you, where the heck am I going to get 1 point something or 1 billion for,
Yes.
to run for office? So we don't even have women that will hold our hands, women that are, financially able to hold our hands. And we just want to say to, all these men, just like you go seeking for men that you hold their hands to run for offices, there are some women that are very brilliant.
That's
That
right.
are very brilliant. Just imagine you having your daughters, and it's a vicious circle. You train daughters and they're not able to even be. For those of them that are going to grow up in Nigeria, they're going to just watch their male classmates just soar, and then they're there sitting out there. And then we find out that some politicians will recruit some women to be so vicious on
To
other
what
women. If you
exactly?
look at a lot of fights going on, it's always instigated by men, against women, maybe their political opponents, and you see these women just trying to drag them down. And then this thing of calling women wayward, a woman will get up, even the woman that, is virtuous, they'll like to tag her, discredit her,
Right.
her, and all of that. Get on her husband.
Ambassador, we really have run out of time. I wish we didn't have that glitch. I know you have so
Yes.
much to give, but like I said, we are having the public hearing across Nigeria. We will have this conversation over and over here on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. I
Thank you,
know.
guys, and please go and support these women. I'm already sharing your
Thank you, ma'am.
flyers all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm still sharing it, and hopefully, by God's grace, this is going to work, because just like we said, we're going to hold on to you guys' coattail.
Thank
When things
you.
are all right with you, We hope that you remember women who helped you with this fight.
That's
And then
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
you know, there should not be a broken chain. Hold on to each other and
right.
let us get there.
Thank
and for
you.
the
Thank you,
men,
ma'am.
please let us, the men, let us just move
let
aside
us.
for us. You know, our increase is not your decrease. That's all I can say. Thank you so much, Nigerians.
Thank you, Ambassador
Bye.
Aju. Thank you.
I can't say your name, but I'm going to learn it.
Abi, you can call her Abi.
And she already corrected us. Huh?
Thank you,
Thank you, Ambassador Aju Elumelu. Thank you so much for also being part of the program. It's been a very, very educating one, and I'm using this opportunity. I'll give you just a minute to finish. I mean, maybe less. We're really running out of time.
Okay, so for me, what would I say concerning anyone that is watching us today? You've heard the conversations, you're interested in the conversations. I'll ask you to go to www.change.org/reserve-seat. That's where we're signing petitions for more women to be involved in politics. You also want to go to www.reserve-seats-for-women.org. And what is your duty? Your duty after watching this is to call and write your legislators to support the bill.
Right.
Number 2 is to join civil society and advocate for more women in parliament. Number 3, you have a phone, you have social media. Use your social media to amplify the message. Educate others about what we have just shared today. If you need more information, www.change.org/reserve-seat is a place to go. And then lastly, vote for and support women candidates and inclusive policies for women. And then thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I wish we had more time.
Other women.
I can't help myself. Thank you for the same thing as well. We have been having this conversation with Ebimoboere Alaibe Elezieanya. I think I pronounced it even better than you do. But this is where we end today's show. We will be back having these conversations over and over. This has been Joyous on Your Life. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next time. Have a wonderful and restful evening.
Thank you.